Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the FPL Affairs podcast, a podcast that strips back and lays bare our season-long love affair with FPL. In our latest transfers and predictions video, we discuss whether or not Weasel followed the admin wildcard crowd in game week 6 and how his team performed, whether he did or whether he didn't. He frequently teases his plan for game week 7 throughout this video, which will be revealed in the team selection one, which follows instantaneously. We also peer into Hippo's crystal balls for his 5-star challenge at predicting which players will well and truly score this weekend. Do you have any of them? Finally, we consider which players could be transferred out or in this week. Before we get started, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel for all of our content, and hit that bell to be notified each time we release something new. Anyway, enough of my small talk. Let's get cracking.
And there's Mo Salah. There goes Haaland. He's on his way again. He's hungry. He scored. Ice cold precision from Palmer. Oh, Saka! That is a diamond of a goal.
Greetings everybody and welcome to our Game Week 7 transfers and predictions video with me, Matt, aka the FPL Affairs Magpie, and joining me as always for this video, Paul, aka the FPL Weasel himself. Before we get on to Game Week 7, how are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. Yourself?
Not too bad.
Yeah,
Still,
got no regrets.
I'm ignoring. I did work out there's probably about speaking with Lewis the other day about a 14 to 16 point difference between had I have gone triple captain or wildcard, but then there's also a decent chunk of team value that difference as well, that by wildcarding I'm a lot better off from that aspect. But shall we start looking at your game week 6 team before we get on to game week 7? You might have noticed it's the Arsenal show on the thumbnails. So if you haven't watched the Newcastle Arsenal wildcard special talking points video, then go ahead and watch it. And Lewis gives a Arsenal in point advice, input to potential going forwards. Anyway, I'm speaking like a robot. Why am I speaking like a robot? So yes, Gyökeres and Eze on the screen is a bit more of a differential. But as said, I'm distracting. Paul, talk us through your team for game week 6, how it did.
Basically, I resisted the urge to wildcards, and that even though with a few injuries. But I've got no regrets, as I'll talk about in the next video. So I got 45 points this week. Sanchez in goal, you got a solitary point. Porro only got a point for me, who's benched. Milankovic, massive letdown again of a single point. Still no clean sheets for him. Senesi's absolute star again, got 7 points with his assist and DEFCON points. And Dorgu got a booking, so got me 0 and conceded 2 goals. It's very disappointing, but it was 50-50 over whether I played him or King, and King only got a single point anyway, so I'd only 1 point better off. So my midfield 3 was Anderson with 3 points, who got DEFCONs again. Semenyo, my captain, got me 14 points with his goal. Bruno, we just don't want to mention Bruno. It's totally unbelievable. He got his thing, missed the second penalty, so he only got -1. And my front 3 were Bowen, who got me 9 points. So he's still my highest scoring player in my team, which is a total shock, considering how West Ham have been and the fixtures they've had. Woods, God knows how he didn't score. He had so many. I think he had 6 big chances in that game, and he only got me 2 points. And Watkins at last finally scored and got me 8 points. And on my bench, I had Dubravka 1 point, King with a single point, Palmer, who was injured, and Ronaldo, who was suspended.
So
that's 45 points.
What change did you say? Because you said you resisted the urge to wildcard. What did you do instead?
I just did the one transfer to Semenyo.
Oh, Verts.
Yeah, I got rid of Verts and got Semenyo, so obviously that worked out well.
Just about. So
And
bring
I
up
didn't follow your advice to Captain Bruno. I stuck to my guns.
makes a chat. Matt, yeah, good choice in that respect last week. Um, so your points, you got 45. Safety score was
43, so it's a tiny green arrow. So my old rank was 6.1 million, and my new rank was just under 5.9 million. So I had 2 points on my bench, and I'm on 289 points now. And it's time for me to wildcard.
oh, time for you. Right, in which case we'll whiz through. We'll see if we can whiz through Kieran's just well briefly going through the fixtures. But how are you? Final thought for last week, or are you done with it and just want to move on?
Yeah, I don't know if I should have wildcarded, but yeah, I've said I wanted to give him a last chance, but obviously the bonuses I got Bowen and Watkins scored finally. So and yeah, I've picked some players in my wild card that I probably would have not considered last week.
Mm, I'm
So
intrigued. I'm intrigued now. Well, seeing as we're recording back-to-back videos, best get through this one quickly so we can get talking about that one. Although some of them may well be considered transfers in anyway. Right, showing up the game week 7 fixtures. So we've got, and bear in mind, it's a Friday evening deadline, 6:30 before an 8 o'clock kickoff, which is Bournemouth Fulham. Thoughts on that one?
Bournemouth should win it. Let's see, we've all got Senesi and Semenyo, so hopefully it'll be a great way to kick off the game week for us all. That they've
And if
been
you've got
stars for us this season.
and Anderson will get his typical DEFCON for Fulham. For those of you that have him and decide to play him. Moving on to
And
Saturday, we've got Leeds Tottenham as the lunchtime kickoff.
yeah, I think Leeds might sneak that one. Spurs are so unpredictable. Obviously, after Europe, that Leeds have impressed me. So it wouldn't surprise me if it's a narrow, like 1-0 win to Leeds.
Mm. I certainly think it'll be low scoring and close, which is why, and we'll go through with what my thoughts are about my two Spurs assets moving forward. Um, Arsenal West Ham. Do we need to speak much about those now, or just say likely a home win?
Yeah, it should be a home win, but obviously West Ham have got new manager bounce.
Mm,
So it
now,
won't be as total steamroller as we would have thought a couple of weeks ago.
Manchester United Sunderland.
Again, I think Sunderland might sneak that 1-0.
I certainly think it will be a low scoring affair for
Yeah.
sure for me because Man United aren't scoring freely and Sunderland are defending pretty resolute at the moment. I think Xhaka's been a good signing for them and being a big influence in the centre of midfield, and their defence is held strong. Um, the
Yeah,
late
that was
kickoff,
brilliant against Nottingham Forest.
mm,
They parked the bus and it worked.
the late kickoff on Saturday, 5:30, Chelsea Liverpool.
I reckon 2-0.
Score draw.
Mhm. They're both all over the place defensive wise. Chelsea have got suspensions and injury problems. That Liverpool can't seem to know their first 11 at the moment. Now with their
No,
rotations.
with the rotations and which attackers to play and what formation to play and how to get the best out of it and how Isak is he's not even getting the chances to miss them.
Yeah, it's been
Really.
very disappointing.
Unlike Nunes that would just get chances galore but then miss them all, Isak's not really getting any chances. So
Yeah, if I had wildcarded last week, I probably would have got Isak, so I'm quite glad I didn't.
I did I did actually look at Isak getting a pairing as instead of planning for bringing in Gyökeres to get Isak in to have the funds for Isak instead and get Saka in midfield. Um,
Mhm.
But in the end, I thought that I think the defense I was looking at was a bit frail to a degree.
Well, every defence is frail at the moment. There was only one clean sheet, wasn't there, last week?
Yeah, it's all about Defcons, to be honest,
Uh-huh.
for points there. And then moving on to Sunday, 2 o'clock kickoffs. Aston Villa Burnley,
Yeah, Villa should win that.
Everton Palace,
Goalless draw, I reckon. Both great defences. Hopefully, lots of defcons.
Newcastle Forest,
Obviously Newcastle win easy. Forest are back to Old Forest, and Newcastle on fire. Obviously, great win for you tonight. We're
yeah,
recording Wednesday night.
4-0.
Uh, very
4-0.
impressive.
Haven't been able to see it though because since it was the early kickoff, I was working at the time. By the time I got home, I was too far back to be able to watch it. So I'll be waiting on tenterhooks until TNT shows has it available in full on catch up. So whenever that is, I'll be watching it. But
Yeah, I
I
did
haven't
think of you
really.
earlier.
But
I did think of you earlier. I thought you was working and miss it.
I have seen Voltemada's goal. Oh, there'll be debates over whether it was deliberate or not. Have you seen it or heard about it?
No, I've been
Or
at work myself, so now I've not heard a thing. I just know your scoreline.
basically, two of the main, well, I don't want to say main talking points because I haven't actually watched the match yet. But Voltemada's goal, he got the first one. Tonali shot, the ball came loose, edge of the area. Tonali shot, and um, it was on target, and it was heading at Voltemada. He was probably edge of the 6 yard box, back to goal, and he sort of did a back heel flick with his right boot to divert the ball past the keeper,
All right.
sort of like backwards in between his legs, flick of the heel, right heel sideways. Um, so there'll be pessimists saying, "Oh, it was fluke. It was just a lucky deflection or something off his boot." But you see it slow motion, it definitely doesn't look that. It definitely looks intentional. Um, I think the other ones will be, which in relation to FPL wise, will be Newcastle and penalty first choice penalty taker because Newcastle got 2 penalties. Gordon took both of them and scored both of them. The second one, Voltemada showed strong interest in taking that one. Um, Gordon pretty much pulled rank and was like, no. So Trippier had to sort of not necessarily console Voltemada, but just sort of be the leader he is to manage the situation. And then, but then after Gordon scored, Voltemada was the first one over to celebrate with him. So it shows that individual determination to and desire to score as a goal scorer, but then at the same time that by celebrating with Gordon first, that team comes first ethic. Um, so anyway, getting
Yeah, so I
subtract.
can give you. And it's looking a good asset for FPL.
Mm, definitely after the goal against Arsenal as well. Definitely keeping my eye out
Is
more
Gordon
on my
back this
watch
week?
list. Pardon?
Is Gordon back this week for FPL?
Yes. Yeah, it should be. Because
It seems to be out for ages, but
what he's played in the cup games, it was three matches. No, but he played against Arsenal. He played against Arsenal at the weekend.
uh, I'm trying to think which game he got sent off on.
He got sent off in the Liverpool one.
Yeah, that was week 2. Yeah, he would have been back last week then.
Yeah, so he missed
Yeah, 3, 4, and 5.
Le Leeds, Leeds, Wolves, and Bournemouth. He missed, and he was able to play in the cup and Europe. Right, last one, Wolves, Brighton. I think Brighton might edge that.
Yeah, for my personal interest, I'm hoping that Wolves will win it, but Obviously, Brighton are a good team, but it's very unpredictable. So yeah, it'll be tight either way, I think.
And then the final kick-off, Brentford Man City. That's got to be a Man City win, surely. But
Yeah, Man City win, Haaland double, or another hat trick,
mm, yeah, quite
unless
possibly.
he gets rested.
Mm, not going to happen. Right. Uh, I click the slide, skip on to the next one a bit quick. Right, 5-star challenge, Crystal Ball, Kieran Balls, the FPL Affairs Hippo, his 5-star challenge. So can you pick 5 players, with the first one being the game week's, who you believe is the game week's best overall player, the second one, the best under 5% owned differential, top performer, third, the keeper with the most saves for the week, fourth, the game week's highest scoring defender, and the 5th star, most likely, and it has to be different from the other choices, most likely for a double-digit return for either a midfielder or a forward. This week, Hippo has gone for Gyökeres as the best overall player. He should get attacking returns against the West Ham United defence. His differential, he's gone with Anthony of Burnley to keep up his red-hot form, as he's in form and he's facing an out-of-form Villa, although they did win last week. Most saves, he's gone with Sells because against Newcastle, Forest aren't doing their best and Newcastle are playing well, certainly implies more attacking promise from tonight. Game week's highest scoring defender, Kieran has pointed out Gabriel because against West Ham he's got potential for a clean sheet as well as attacking returns. However, in the Champions League match this evening, Gabriel went off injured, I believe,
I know.
and we're not. I haven't. I'm just aware from a image on social media and a post that Andrew put in the chat that he went off 73 minutes, I think, and it's undetermined what the injury is. So he may or may not be available. That'll definitely be one to watch Arteta's press conference on Friday. And finally, double-digit midfield. He's gone safe bet, you'd think, with Haaland for his most likely double-digit player other than Gyökeres. Haaland as he's in form, and you can easily see him getting a couple of goals against Brentford. What are your thoughts on Kieran's selections this week?
I don't think Gyökeres will be the highest and best player this week. No, he's been pretty disappointing, I think, the last few game weeks. And I think I originally was thinking about him for my wild cards, but yeah, spoiler alert, I'm not getting him.
Mm,
But yeah, best overall player of the week. Um, I guess Semenyo again, I think.
You go for Semenyo against Fulham.
Yeah.
Mm,
Obviously the Haaland's the obvious pick. Maybe Saka as well. No, he was benched tonight, so he should start. And he's starting to
I'd
show his form.
I'd be inclined to say Haaland for best overall player and then double-digit midfielder to be Saka. That's what I'd be inclined, I think.
The two face similar categories, aren't they?
Yeah.
That's why
Um,
you got the rule of not picking the same one.
yeah, because people are just go the same for two. So at the moment, well, we'll move on to transfers going into game week 7. That's the predictions. Oh, but before that, this week, Hippo challenges FPL Affairs Weasel.
Yeah, I
Before we,
thought it was going to be me in my last one.
yeah, yeah, because you were asleep
Yeah,
when the game launched,
but
and
yeah,
we ordered the Kieran's ordered his opponents from the admin based on FPL user ID.
uh-huh. Yeah, save the best to last.
Mm, well, it's bitty, neck and neck, similar.
I better
Okay.
do some research then.
Mm, potential
He's picked
transfers
some good
out.
picks.
Potential transfers out. Are we going to mention goalkeepers?
Sales.
Sales largely.
It's the usual that we keep been saying for the last few weeks, really.
What are your thoughts on Sanchez?
I'm personally keeping him because their long-term fixtures are good. Now, the next couple aren't great, obviously, of Liverpool.
Mm.
And
But
then
then
there's Man United next week, is it? Can't remember who they've got next week, Chelsea.
no, they're Man United the other week.
Nottingham Forest next week. So,
Not too
yeah,
bad
I can
to
see why people would transfer him out. Obviously, there's better options. But I'm keeping him as a differential in my team.
mm. Defenders, which to get out.
Uh,
I think it
Again, this
certainly
gonna sound like a
certainly any that are injured or that have been confirmed. Any others that spring to mind to you?
yeah, it's gonna sound like a broken record. Forest again. See no clean sheets. They're not getting any dive comms.
I think that's it really with at the moment with the familiarity of DEFCONs and being able to identify which defenders are getting DEFCONs more often than not. And as I said, with Lewis and probably sounding like a broken record as well, is the attacking fullbacks that have been like the main focal points in defender selection in recent years are just not doing it this season. Um, well, to be fair, Diouf at West Ham's got 4 assists now, so
Has he?
he is to a degree. But Munoz hasn't hit the heights from an attacking point of view, and he doesn't get as many DEFCONs as he has achieved them, to be fair, but not as much as Richards and Lacroix as initially intended. Um, I think all four of Palace's defenders though got DEFCON against Liverpool last game week. But I'm going off the point. He's also considering fixtures, to be fair. Um, Chelsea have got a rough couple, but then with the DEFCONs, even defenders with tough fixtures, and the fact that over recent weeks, there's over the last couple of weeks, whereas the first opening couple of weeks there was loads of great clean sheets. The fact Sunderland were the only one this week. Um, but yeah, because of DEFCONs, those defenders, even if they concede a goal or two, they're still getting 3 or 4 points because of DEFCON.
Uh-huh. Yeah, DEFCON's thrown a total spanner in the works. And yeah, picking my defenders has been my biggest headache for my wild card this week.
Mm.
And that was
Okay.
just you say they can lose and still get 3 or 4 points.
Mm.
But I think it's good for me, for my team, because I used to always pick central defenders for FPL until last season. So hopefully I'll come into my strength and find a few good centre backs who'll help me go up the ranks.
It's also really thinking about what defenses have got players that aren't doing great for DEFCON, um, and have bad fixtures or not great fixtures. So you're looking at Tottenham defenders are questionable. Yes, they've got Leeds away this week, but then their fixtures start to turn. We've mentioned Forest defenders. Anyway, we're going a bit too much negative. Midfielders, ones to get rid of. Now, I would like your thoughts on Bruno. Let's talk about Bruno.
Uh, I've got rid of him.
You got
No,
rid.
he's not in my wild cards. Yep. Destry wants to keep him, but for 9 million, and that is a lot of money.
Mm, I decided to put Foden in that spot, in Bruno's spot, in my wild card last week with the view of having him for about 3 weeks. Then, when Man City had a few rough weeks, after that, after these good three, I'd switch from Foden to Bruno, but I might actually switch from Foden to somebody else, um, either
Yeah,
that week
Burmo's a
or the
better
week
call, I
following.
think.
Pardon?
I think Mbermo's a better choice for Matt if you want to go Man United.
Midfielders, well, Palmer monitor injuries. Um, you said you've taken Bruno out on your wild card.
Yeah, I think he's going to lose penalties now, so he's obviously not as great an FPL asset.
It's very much a split decision on whether he'll lose penalties or not, because although I think, well, both Cunha and Mbeumo missed penalties in the Carabao Cup. But other than that, Mbeumo's got quite a decent penalty scoring record, and Cunha hasn't actually taken as many as what what you'd think. Um, Forwards to take out. You've got an easy answer question for that.
Yeah, obviously Woods. That obviously a lot of people would take out Watkins, but I think he's worth keeping for the Burnley game if you've still got
Mm,
him.
yeah, if you've been an extremely patient person, and still does have Watkins, which actually could have been me had I not wildcarded last week. It would have been Chris Wood out and Haaland in, and I would have had a front three of Haaland, João Pedro, and Watkins. But it is what it is. That's another thing. So,
Pedro,
what are your thoughts? Is Pedro a transfer out, do
yeah,
you
I'd
think?
transfer him out.
Because I'm sort of mixed because yes, there's the stat going around of how few shots he's had in the last 3 game weeks, but then Chelsea have had a player sent off in two of them, and all the other attacking players Maresca's taken off. Um, so that needs bearing in mind. And I think because of his red card in the Champions League, that indirectly benefits him from a Premier League point of view, because he'll he'll play the 90 minutes for those, and alternatives would play the minutes for the Champions League minutes that he's suspended for.
True.
So it'll
But
be
isn't he nursing a knock at the moment as well? So
mm,
he might be able to manage 90 minutes.
that's the other spanner in the works. So we'll be a bit more. Those are ones to kind of vaguely consider as main ones out. Let's move on to the ones coming in before this episode comes to a close. Goalkeepers, in short, top three to bring in. Let's try and do this a bit more quick fire and prompt and less waffle.
Raya, Pope, and Roofs from Sunderland. I think it's worth an outside pump.
Hmm.
He's the highest
Eh,
scored keeper at the moment, isn't he?
Is he four? Is he 4.5?
He's 4.5, but he's got potentials for clean sheets and save points.
What about Petrovic at Bournemouth?
Yeah, again, he'll probably be my fourth choice, I think.
I think last week there was very much a Donnarumma or Raya from most people. I went Pope on my wild card, but I think Man City, yes, Donnarumma will get more saves than Raya, but I worry that it'll be the same as last season. Manchester City will they'll just be, you know, they'll concede few chances, but then chances will be scored, so there won't be as many clean sheets as there would be for, say, Raya and Arsenal. Um, so that's why I'd kind of put him slightly lower down than those mentioned: Pope, Raya, Petrovic, and your outside punt of, was it Reeves?
Roofs, Reeves to Roofs, yeah.
However it's pronounced. Um, Defenders, on fire
Obviously,
for that.
Senesi,
It's the main defcons. The default template ones for defcon is basically Senesi of Bournemouth, Tarkowski of Everton, and Anderson of Fulham. Other ones you're
and
looking at,
Palace.
yeah, is any of the Palace defenders really. Thinking budget, looking more Chris Richards over the others. He's point 0.3 cheaper than Gahey, and Gay's not going to be able to continue this assist and goal scoring streak he's had in the last few game weeks. Um,
true.
Arsenal defence, obviously, primarily Gabriel and Saliba, although if Gabriel is injured, so keep an eye out for those press conferences on Friday, um, or even today post-match to see what Arteta says. But if Gabriel's not available, then find an alternative route into the Arsenal defence if you haven't got one already.
They're all
Uh,
rotation risks, though, aren't they? It's
mm,
my biggest worry.
which is why the template is Raya and Gabriel.
Uh-huh.
Um, so those are really kind of the type ones. And then you'd say if you're looking for if funds wise, you're looking at 4.0, probably saying Sunderland and Leeds if you've still got your bench boost, getting a mixture alongside Burnley's Dubravka, um, meaning you've got a spread of balance to cover those because the promoted teams, as Lewis and I discussed the other day, are doing so much better than in previous seasons.
Yeah, definitely. And that Leeds and Sunderland's and that the defence has been brilliant. And I personally stay away from Burnley because the fixtures, I think, they've got the worst fixtures the next six,
Mm.
and they've got the
So
worst expected goals against.
mm, it's
That's why
yeah,
you'll see in my
primarily
wild card.
Rodon and Good Johnson from no, not Good Johnson, Goodmanson of Leeds.
Uh-huh,
Those being there, and Sunderland, there's Mukele,
uh-huh.
something like that, and the one that hauled at the weekend. You can tell I'm t apologies if I'm tired. It's been a long day at work, so I'm kind of forgetting half the players' names unless they've been in the
Yeah.
game for donkey's years. Um,
He's got a really strange name, hasn't he? Like Algerelli or something, isn't it? It's something like that.
mm, it will prop up, but the one that scored 17 points at the weekend and outscored Haaland by one. Him, so yeah, that's the defenders, main midfielders to potentially bring in. Can you think of were there others? Well, ones other than the ones you will disclose on your wild card, or ones that you considered but haven't got in at the moment.
Obviously, I've got Eze, I think, is weapon outside pump for Arsenal.
Mm. So Arsenal midfielders.
Uh-huh. Um, I think he's the most nailed on, along with the one I've actually gone with for my wild card,
Mm.
which I mentioned later in the next video.
Yeah.
Um,
Um,
just
I'm
trying to,
intrigued. I'm intrigued, and I'm trying not to be. I'm trying to be impartial and not let Clubhead take over. But now Gordon's back and looking likely to be holding down that left wing spot over Barnes. And if tonight's an indication that he's on penalties, then any good fixture runs we've got coming up that he could be an outside punt.
yeah, definitely. He was a star last season in my team. And
Mm.
yeah,
It
he's
went
definitely
through
on my watch
phases.
list.
It was, yeah, he went through phases, but it was more not last season, the season before that he was on fire. Um, and he'll be looking to hopefully get back to that. Um, moving on with a couple of minutes to go. Um, forwards, obviously Haaland to start off with. João Pedro, most people have got João Pedro, and I'd probably say if you don't have him, then don't bring him in. But if you've got him, don't necessarily get rid.
Walter Mardi for your Newcastle.
Mm,
It's looking very good. And I've got two others which I'm personally bringing into my team, but you want me to say that for the wildcard video?
you're like dropping in every single moment. You'll be like, oh, such and such. Oh, but you'll have to wait till next video. Oh, such and such. But you'll have to wait till the next video. You're like trying to raise the tension or suspension. My concern will be if we then see the wild card and it'll be like, oh, and it's a bit of an anticlimax.
Unfortunately, it will be, but I'll explain my reasons in the wildcard for why I've
Oh,
gone for the players I have.
for sure. But other than those, and I haven't, well, I inserted the image, but I didn't take much attention to. Um, your wild card because I just thought, you know what, I'll let you talk about it. I'm not going to have a nose. So it was just insert, crop, done. Next slide. Um,
You
so
after a cheap striker, Isidore from Sunderland, or the Burnley striker, Foster.
mm, one of those.
Good.
Okay, so that's a few brief potential transfers in. Paul will go into more detail on why he chose the one he chose ones in the next video, our team selection video. So how can you get in touch? Where can you find us? Our email address is lowercase fplaffairs@gmail.com. On X, our user handle is at FPL Affairs. Facebook, the group link is in our description on the YouTube video channel. And alternatively, you could search the Facebook group for FPL Affairs. We should pop straight up. Our YouTube channel is /at FPL Affairs, and the Spotify links are generally found at the bottom of the video, or on Spotify you could search up FPL Affairs. There may still be time to join our leagues if you haven't already. The Classic League code is 12RRCG, or the Classic code is lowercase I6NQNB. Unfortunately, the head-to-head league is now closed as the season has started. Final thoughts based on your game week 6 result, or
Yeah, I'm happy. I've got a green arrow. Obviously, if I wild cards, I've got a big green arrow like you. But I won't say it about the next video and my choices. But you'll see why I'm glad I stayed to do week 7 wild cards.
well, I guess with that, thank you for joining me. Good for watching, and all that's left to say is keep your FPL affairs under wraps.